But if anyone feels as if they've been intimidated or have difficulty in voting at the polls, please call the county clerk's office if you're out in the county, or the city election commission if you have any complaints on election day.
My name is Alan Mayer. I am the incumbent Democrat on the county board from District 6, which is central Peoria. It's the area around the Ag Lab on up through around the Kroger on Lake Street, roughly, St. Phil's neighborhood, Lauk School. So if you're in that part of the city and you don't know me yet, I'm sorry. That means that I apparently haven't gotten to your door in the 3 times I've tried to knock on your door. Let me tell you why I think you should return me to the county board. 2 basic reasons. One is I think I have a very good record, and the second is I think that when you look at the positions of the 2 candidates running for county board in my district, you'll see quite a contrast, and I hope you'll agree with me. So a good record. What I'm talking about is the county's property tax rate is now the lowest it's been since 1981. We've kept costs under control. We've also had our bond rating improved twice in most recent years, which is a lot more than you can say about a lot of other units of local government around here or other higher levels of government. We've balanced our budget, and we've done a good job with that, with the leadership of Chairman O'Neill's and others on the board. Another part of a good record that I have, I was honored that Chairman O'Neill has appointed me chairman of not only the tax committee, but also the redistricting committee and then the landfill siting committee. And if you think about it, redistricting, which the people in this room probably know a lot more about than the general public, but it's a pretty contentious issue. People fight a lot, get angry. 10 years ago, lawsuits got filed over the county board redistricting map. This time around, we had an open process. We had a 5-person redistricting committee. We came up with a proposed map. It came out of committee unanimously on a bipartisan basis, and you know what? The county board adopted our redistricting map 18-0. Bipartisan, unanimous. That's the kind of leadership that I brought. Same thing with landfill siting, probably one of the most contentious issues you'll find a local government can do. Chairman O'Neill trusted me to guide that process. At the end of it, we had a unanimous vote, bipartisan, for the expansion of the city-county landfill in a way that is environmentally responsible and that will provide increased opportunities for recycling while providing great return for consumers. Those are just a few of the things. So I think I've got a good record. Now, let's talk about the second reason, a contrast, because some people like to think about elections as a choice between the candidates, and where do we differ? Well, I found out when we had the Journal Star editorial board meeting and they got to put us under the microscope and press on us and what are your opinions on some things. The first thing that I'm probably known for on the county board is leading the opposition to the expansion of the hazardous waste landfill. I was quite frankly surprised that my opponent disagreed with that when he was asked by the editorial page editor. So I think you look at hazardous waste. I agree, I along with Chairman O'Neill and a bipartisan majority of the board, as well as, quite frankly, the State Pollution Control Board, the Appellate Court, and the Supreme Court, all agreed that we did the right thing in denying that expansion. My opponent disagrees with that. I think that's a big issue for a lot of people. Second thing, one of the things I am most proud of is that for over 150 years, Peoria County has had a nursing home that has provided care for those who can no longer care for themselves. The voters overwhelmingly approved it in a 2003 referendum. I have fought against efforts to privatize it. Unfortunately, my opponent, Mr. Emerson, disagrees with me. He does not think we should be in the nursing home business. So I think if you look at either my record, which I think has been a good one, and I ask you to independently verify that, and if you look at the positions of the candidates on important issues like hazardous waste, like whether or not we should care for senior citizens at a county nursing home, I think there's a clear contrast, and I ask that you cast your vote in District 6 for Alan Mayer.
Thank you, Evan. Appreciate it. First, just want to start with a thank you to the NAACP, ACLU, League of Women Voters for putting this on tonight. It's nice to get out in front of others, great attendance, and to talk a little bit about what our challenges are. Since I've never held a public office, and I see a few familiar faces here, not as many as other places, I think I'll just start with a little introduction of myself. I was born and raised here in Peoria. I have a family of 6, 12 and under my children, 2 sets of twins. Have a practice here with my wife. She has a medical practice. I help her. I was trained when I graduated from school, and I graduated in the mid-'80s when the job market wasn't as well, so I went back to school in Chicago to Worsham College of Mortuary Science to be a licensed funeral director. I did it I'm still licensed, did it for about 20 years full-time, but when we started our family, my wife started a practice, we built our business, I started part-time. As far as my family goes back, my grandfather's one owned a shoe store on Main Street. My dad's grandfather owned a grocery store, Jefferson Persimmon. And then my father had his own practice, medical practice. And my wife's father, he was a carpenter. So our roots go back as owners in the area here, quite a few years. Why do I want to run for District 8? It's important to me as time goes on. We all see it on the news, in the papers, that it's not getting any better as far as the revenues, budgets, things with our government. State government probably bothers me the most. Many times I see where they, for a lack of better terms, ridicule us. As far as where we're at in rankings, 50, 49. I don't want that to happen here. It's important to me that our families, my children, for myself, that we work together, the city and the county, to make it great here. We have some great people, and always have, in our city, in our county, that have given for many years. This, for me, is a way to give back a little bit. I feel honored. I've met most of the people here, great people, everybody. Doesn't matter if you're Republican, Democrat. It's just if you want to do it and want to move forward, it's not going to get easier as time goes on. The county board has a budget, what I've learned, $130 million approximately. So they have that much money that they're spending, of years. New projects, the new museum they're going to manage, their nursing home is new. Taxes, we have less people staying in our county, moving across the river. It's not going to be easy as it moves forward. So those are the things that are important to me as we go on. I've worked in town here since I was 16, worked for Jay Glazer, Bob Salzstein Super Liquors, Greg Gephardt Schooners, Mike Enos Gold Line. I've always worked here, and I'm very proud of it. Very proud to be here and have our business here. So that's why, as we move forward, I want to be able to help and be a part of that. And I think that what I've learned over the years when I manage my funeral homes and our business, I can pass that along for the board and work with them. So again, thank you for giving me the opportunity to be here.
Hi, my name's Dan Dolan. I'm running for Peoria County Board District 12. I'm a senior at Bradley. Everybody always asks me, why are you doing this? Why would you do this to yourself? Well, I've lived here my whole life. Peoria is a great place to live, and I strongly believe that. I've seen a lot of my friends come and go. They think the grass is greener elsewhere. Well, if I see something wrong with something, I'm going to do something about it. I work part-time as a carpenter, so I guess that gives me that fix-it attitude. And my opponent has served many decades in politics and many decades in education, and those are great services he's done for our community. I think it's change is something that government can, use, and some fresh ideas, fresh face. As far as the hazardous waste landfill goes, I do strongly oppose expanding that in the Peoria area. I think that's something my opponent and I have different views on. But other than that, yeah, District 12 is out by Grand Prairie Mall, all the way up to Allen Road. My mom's a retired District 150 school teacher. My dad buys and sells cattle, so I'm just a regular guy. Thanks for your time.
I'm Bob Moretto, the 16-year incumbent of District 12, and it's in the northwest side of Peoria. If you go out Allen Road to William Knowles, take a left, go out to Kearney Road, take a left, go down to Charter Oak, and jog around a little bit and come back. That's the district that I represent. Ever since I've been in Peoria, in 1957, I've been serving this community as a teacher, a coach, a dean, and athletic director in the last 22 years as principal of Richwoods High School. During my high school stay, I joined Peoria North Rotary Club, of which I worked myself up to president, and at the time I was given the top award for service to this community. And the reason I'm using I here, and I don't like to do that, because quality of life issues is my platform. As I retired, I co-founded an organization known as Heart of Illinois Harvest. We are an army of volunteers that pick food up from those who have it and don't want it and deliver it to those who don't have it and want it. We just had our 20th year celebration, and with great pride and gratification, I can tell you we have served over 10 million meals to citizens of Peoria County, mainly those in the inner city, our senior citizens, and our younger generation. Now, what am I all about? Quality of life issues are at the base of my campaign. Anything you can throw at me affects the quality of life. We have some tough decisions to make. You have not seen the financial crisis that we face as a county board or any other government entity. We are going to have to put aside our differences, political differences, and all differences that we may have, collaborate and work together to solve these problems. Now, will that happen? Will the political structure of the Republicans fighting with the Democrats and vice versa let that happen? You can make it happen. It has to happen, because if it doesn't, the apathy that we already have, not only in our county, but throughout our country, is not going to be in the best interest of common folk. And that's who I represent. I don't represent special interests. I don't represent parties. I have a helping hand that I will give out to you. I don't care who you are, where you are. I am responsive. You are the people that elect me, and you are the people that I will respond to and do my best. Let me leave you with one quote. Long arm of government will never replace this helping hand of volunteers, and here's a room full of them. Together, an army of volunteers can bring about change. We need your help. You need to tell us what you want, what priorities you want set, whether it's on crime, schools, taxes, anything that affects you. Like I said earlier, anything that you can throw out affects the quality of life, and that's me. Thank you for allowing me to serve. We have a lot of work to do, and my experience factor is going to be part of helping us get some success. Thank you.
Pleased to meet you. My name is Tom O'Neill. Many of you know me already. I'm the incumbent in District 17 for the past 19 years. I've ran in 4 elections, ran unopposed a couple times. My boundaries take in most of Bartonville and west of Bartonville to Lake Camelot, the Limestone Township part of Lake Camelot. Myself, I was born and raised in the south end of Peoria, lived here all my life, went to St. John's Catholic Grade School and Spalding Catholic High School. I did not go to college. I went to an electrical apprenticeship. I chose that would be my trade and my goal in life. I've been a union electrician the last 39 years, working the last 29 for the city of Peoria. On county board, Alan already said a lot of the things. We've done so much on the board. We work so well together. I think under my leadership and some others working together with us, both parties, we have a great leadership in the county of Peoria on the board, and we work well together, both parties. There's just a couple that don't, and they would rather be behind and not be progressive and move ahead like the citizens want. Like Alan said, the citizens, we went out to them, put on a referendum for the museum and the nursing home. In both cases, the citizens chose to build them and to watch them grow. The nursing facility in West Peoria is going to be a great facility. I know it's going to be full. It's going to be a very great place for elder people to live the rest of their life. The museum, what I call the gem on the riverfront, will be the grand opening on October 20th. Peoria County, once taking this after the referendum passed, Peoria County, I had to get together, Kevin Lyons, and set a crew up at the county to get together and to work out a working agreement with the museum group and with all collaborative groups. We had to make sure that the taxpayers who voted for this were protected in this and covered, and we did that. And like I said, the 20th, that will open, and I'm sure that everyone in here will be amazed at what they see. As the chairman the last 3.5 years on county board, I have went out and made the other party, gave them some chairmanships, which hasn't been done at all times, because I want to work well together, have good chairmen in all of our committees that we have. We all work well together. We're the top government there is around. Financially, we keep tabs on everything, and we have great leaders that help out. I just want, everybody asks, why do you want to run again? I think that we in Peoria County are not done. There's many things that we still have to accomplish. There's many things out there that have to be done, and we have many, many things ahead of us that's going to be problems. As everyone knows, at the state level, we have problems. And where does that always go? It gets handed down to us. You know, we're going to have some problems with Medicare at the nursing facility. We're going to have some other state things handed down that we take over payment for that they won't do anymore. And it's none of the leadership from our area in the state. Our people work well together, work well with our county board to make things happen for the Peoria area. I just want to tell everyone in here I'm proud to be on Peoria County Board. I would love to be on another 4 years. As we go forward, I look for better, bigger, and better things from the county of Peoria and our people that serve it. Thank you.
First of a little bit background about myself. I was actually born in Knox County, but we quickly moved to Peoria County in a little town called Elmore. Most of you probably don't even know it exists, but I was raised by a single parent. So I do have an understanding of what happens in situations where you don't have everything you think you need to get along. I enlisted in the Army in 1968, where I received an Army Commendation Medal for my service in Vietnam. And when I came home, I did go to a business school and learned architectural and mechanical drafting. But after enlisting in the Army, I learned through my experience telecommunications. And that's where I served for 13 years as a union employee with IBEW. The last 15 years I was a manager, and I was actually the last network operations manager standing in the city of Peoria. 320 Fulton over here was my office. I was responsible for that and all of the offices that worked out of that. I was also responsible for offices in Ottawa, LaSalle, Peru, and much of central Illinois. So that's part of my management and business background of being able to work with unions and being a union employee. I also co-owned and operated 2 FM radio stations in Peru, Illinois. We owned and operated those for 4 years until we finally decided to sell them. During my career at Ameritech, off and on, I was a tutor at Tri-County Urban League for at-risk youth. So I can empathize with the situation and what we need to do to promote more education and the educational facility. And I know we just went into charter school at Quest. When you look at Quest Academy and the number of people that stood in line to get into that school, you have to ask the question why. And I realize we're not running for the school board, but the answer seems to be parents' participation. Those parents want their children to learn. No matter what your race, creed, or color, if your children don't learn, they will go nowhere. That's one of the things that I was really amazed at. When I grew up, my teachers loved me like my parents. And my parents made sure that if I misacted in school, I didn't want to go home. I'd be taken care of there. But this is something that seems to be lacking today in our situation with a lot of the schools. I also worked for the Illinois State Treasurer's Office for Judy Bartopinka for almost 7 years. The last 9 months of those 7 years, I worked for Alexi Giannoulias. My last program was designing a home ownership program with Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae, believe it or not, in September of 2007. So I've got a very vivid background in money management, in finance, and working with the unions. And I'm not running against Tom O'Neill. I'm running for a more balanced board. We need to represent businesses as well as unions and make sure that we work together as one. As Bob said, one of the things that I've learned over the years with my memberships in the Kiwanis, my memberships as a JC, taking turkeys out on Thanksgiving, working at Southside Mission as a volunteer, is that helping hands means more than anything government can ever do for you. My focus is going to be on the management of the county board simply because most of you may not be aware of it, but the assessed evaluation from the state on what they call a quadrennial appraisal went down last year, which means that about 1.2% decrease in taxes. Decisions are going to have to be made, whether we cut somewhere or whether we raise taxes. And that's going to be a tough decision to make. As a manager at Ameritech, I know what it takes, and it's not easy to make those decisions. You have to be willing to step forward and make sure that all of those essential services are maintained, and at the same time that you're able to not go over your budget. It's my understanding that this year the Peoria County Board is somewhere between $1.2 and $700,000, $1.2 million and $700,000 in debt. So the focus is going to be on managing those funds and making the most out of them. Thank you for your time.
My name is Paul Rosenbaum. I'm the District 18 representative for the county board now. Been on for almost 2 years. A little background about myself. I've been married for 30 years to my wife June. We have 5 kids. We have 11 grandchildren. I was a dairy farmer for 30 years with my brother and my mother. So I grew up on the third generation that was grown up on the dairy farm. I've retired from that since then, but I learned a lot taking care of animals. You know, animals can't take care of themselves, you have to do it for them. Did a lot of work growing up. I've got the work ethic. My brother and I, we started a business, LHF Compost, which takes compost or yard waste from the different municipalities. I've grown that business to the point where I'm doing that full time. I've got 4 employees. I know how to run a business. I've had the good years, I've had the bad years. I know what it's like to work for a whole year without making anything and turn it around and making the cost-cutting measures that it takes to make your business profitable. On the county board, I'm thinking, okay, I've been on it for 2 years. I haven't had a whole lot of opportunity to make a lot of different changes, but there's one that I'm very proud of. I teamed up with Matt Wall, our zoning director, and he had a vision of the South End revitalization. But Matt needed somebody to come on board with him on that on the county board to bring it to them. I brought that up in our land use committee, teamed up with Chuck Weaver from the city. Chuck and I did a little tour of the South End. My wife is originally from the South End. She grew up down there on Laramie and Armington. So I knew a little bit about the area, not as much as what the people that live down there. So we did a tour of it, and we got the ball somewhat rolling with the county trying to revitalize some of the houses down there. During that time, Chuck had a gentleman call me. His name was Kevin Rose from Northwoods Church, and out of that, the Nehemiah Initiative has grown. We've got many of the South End churches. We've got many of the churches around the whole Peoria County and Peoria City working together. It's not that the government is doing this. We've got volunteers. We've got churches. We've got everybody working together. Government's not the answer for everything. I believe it's us, the people, are. So we're getting houses rebuilt for people to move into, counseling these people so they can move into the houses and know how to take care of them, how to make sure they pay their mortgage on time. And that's one of the things that I guess I'm very proud of that I was able to be a part of. I've worked well with my other fellow board members. Occasionally I don't always agree with them on everything, but for the most part I feel like we've worked well together. I know how to compromise when the need needs to be compromised, and I also know how to stand firm on what I believe in, that is what we need to do. The county's going to be going through a rough time, as been mentioned, with the lower tax rate and less money coming in, but I feel like I know how to help the rest of them sit down and figure out where we can make cuts and where we can. I thank you for the opportunity to talking tonight, and hope for your vote. Thank you.
Then I'll pose this one question to each of the candidates running for county board. What do you see as probably the top 1 or 2 issues or concerns that require the immediate attention of the county board, and what do you intend to do about it?
The concern with me, like I said earlier, is the state of Illinois, and we're not sure. We're already was dumped $700,000 short on our budget this year because of things that they handed down to us, and I'm sure that there's going to be some of that coming up in the future. But I have to say that another concern is what I mentioned earlier, is Medicaid with the nursing facility. There's going to be some problems there, I believe, but we have a good county board, and we have areas that we can look to make cuts in some areas to make up for that, and to come back in that area and to serve the people of this community.
I think that the top 2 issues that we probably want to be looking at, echoing what Tom said, are going to be our budget going forward, and then making sure that we keep our commitment to the nursing home. As far as the budget, first of all, I want to make sure that everyone understands that the 2012 budget is balanced. In fact, Chairman O'Neill got a very nice letter from the Chamber of Commerce saying, despite the fact that we're Democrats and there's a Democratic majority, the Chamber of Commerce sent us a letter saying, hey, you did a great job on your budget, it's balanced, and you did it the right way. So we have been very bipartisan in working with labor and business. As far as 2013, the preliminary numbers are showing that, yes, while our EAV has declined, there are bright spots, some of our shared revenues that are coming in, sales tax revenue, income tax revenue, as the economy is picking up, those are actually picking up very quickly, so we should be able to balance the we will balance the 2013 budget without a property tax increase. There is no stomach to increase the property tax rate. And then finally, I think that it's absolutely critical that we retain a majority on the board that will keep the commitment to our county nursing home, because there are folks on the board, all of whom are Republicans, although I'll make it clear that there are several Republicans that agree with us, that think that we should just get out of the business, that we should privatize our nursing home. I think that's a fundamental policy decision, and we need to make sure that we maintain our county nursing home.
Well, balancing the budget is the biggest concern that I've heard from all my constituents. I've been knocking on all their doors, and without raising taxes, obviously. How do we do that? I would suggest intergovernmental cooperation, not just the city and county, possibly the school board, park districts. And it seems like out in our district, everybody's, the hard question they always have to ask is, well, my kids are getting old enough to go to school, so now I have to decide, do I want to move out to Dunlap, or do I want to send them to private school? And I know that's not a county board issue, but those really seem to be the biggest things that I've been hearing from my district. So
Obviously, the most of our challenges are going to be finances, but let me tell you what my concerns are, going back to quality of life issues. The inner city delivered a lot of meals, know a lot of them. They had many of their students at Richwoods. For them to have the label that they have, the senior citizens that have worked their whole life to survive, and now they're scared to walk outside their house. Collaboratively, we have got to, and I know you're going to hear more about that tonight, but it affects our school system. It affects this whole community. There's economic development, there's a lot of things. The disabled people that we have, that the state has turned their backs on. We need to put priorities on the money, and we have done that before when we were broke. But you need to tell us. I don't know how anyone can look at a disabled person or one who is in real need. We spend money all over this world. We spend money all over this state. And it makes me sick that we can't get a few dollars to help these people out. So that is one of my dire issues on the quality of life, to improve it for those people and make Peoria a better place to live.
Because of the fact that the budget is going to be one of the main focuses of anyone running for the county board. And as Bob said, the quality of life on the south end, I do own some homes down there. As a matter of fact, my son lives down in that area, in one of the homes that I own. And I just bought a house on Swords Avenue, and I have a young man who is on work release that's helping me. And as I go through that home, it's me. Where I see in the area that he lives, the number of houses that are boarded up. One of the things that I've been a member of is the Preserve Farmland Group, and maybe some of you have heard about it, but it's the focus on urban sprawl. We have people moving out of the city into the county and leaving abject poverty. That's not something that we can sustain. The city needs the money from those houses, and as much as it sounds good that, hey, we're generating revenue by building new homes out in the county, you're losing revenue in the city. And one of the luxuries I had working for the state treasurer was to be able to go to over 500 high schools throughout the state of Illinois. And one stellar school that I found was had a superintendent by the name of Arthur Perkins. If we had that dedication in every one of our schools, you would not believe how much I think it would change. Thank you.
One of the last people to talk about this when everybody else is all taking all the good talking points. The finances for the county is one of the main things that we will have to make sure that we keep diligent about. We have worked together to make the balanced budget, like they said, this year in 2012, and I'm confident in 2013 we can do it. We may have to cut a little here, cut a little there, or maybe cut a lot in a few areas, but we will have the core services that the Peoria County citizens deserve and want. The nursing home, that's a issue that is going to be a very difficult one when we're providing quality care for our people and the state isn't following up with their end of the deal, reimbursing us. That is the one thing we're going to have to try to figure out how to take care of that so those patients aren't neglected with any type of care. And the other part I think we need to do is try to encourage more business growth and to keep more businesses staying here and expanding, so that way it will help our with more jobs here. You have more people here spending here, and all around everything just snowballs to the effect of more prosperity for all. Thank you.
Thanks, Paul. Following up a little bit with Paul, you know, probably my objectives, touching on them a little bit again, is for our everything comes down to finances for everybody. I think I love Peoria and the area. I think there's so many generous people here. I think we still have to make it attractive for others to want to come be with us. So I think it's very important that we have great people to work here, can employ them, that we have businesses come. I think it's a priority to make it attractive for businesses. The other is, as time goes on, I know that they've already started collaborating a little bit with the city and the county to maybe try and work together, combine some services. I think that's a good idea, but to do that and get that to come together, I think it'll be very important for the board to do that. So I think it's very important for my part too.
The election of November 6, 2012 will be one of the most critical elections in our lifetime. It's your choice whether you play a part in how it's impacted.
It's your vote.
It's your education.
It's your vote. It's your job.
It's your vote.
It's your money. It's your vote.
It's your power.
It's your vote. It's your future.
It's your vote.
It's your right. It's your right. It's your right.
It's your right.
Vote like your life depends on it, because it does.
Good evening, folks. I'd like to thank the Peoria NAACP, the Peoria ACLU, and the Peoria Christian Leadership Council for having us here tonight. My name is Jerry Brady. I'm the Peoria County States Attorney. I seek the election in November. I was raised in Peoria, educated on the south side, Spalding High School, Bradley University. While I was at Bradley, I had the opportunity to work at Guardian Angel Home, to work my way through school and to have room and board. Following that, I worked briefly for the Peoria Park District, then attended St. Louis University Law School. No, it's not right. Attended St. Louis University Law School, and then worked in the state's attorney's office, working my way up to the felony division, handling all felonies, murder cases, as well as other felonies, and became the administrative assistant to John Barra toward the end of that time. Then I began a private practice in focus with criminal litigation and civil litigation. I focused primarily in all areas of civil and criminal litigation, spending weekly days in both the felony courtroom in federal court and the felony courtroom, misdemeanor courtroom, and state court. In May, I was approached by Kevin Lyons as to whether or not I would allow myself to be placed for possible position to the state's attorney when he elevated to the bench. I'm running for state's attorney for two simple reasons. One, because I now have a chance. My children are raised, they've all been educated. My wife is a nurse, my son is a Peoria firefighter, my daughter is a lawyer, my youngest son recently graduated from St. Ambrose University. They are now all educated, and I have an opportunity to give back to my community. Second, it's something I enjoy. When I was a prosecutor, I enjoyed the sense of being a prosecutor. I felt that what I was doing was right. I had a sense of accomplishment. Although I enjoyed being a criminal defense attorney, the sense of accomplishment, the joy was just not simply there. That's simply my own perspective. I enjoyed being a prosecutor, and I enjoy it now. The state's attorney's office, so it's a chance to do what I believe is right and something that I enjoy. As you know, the state's attorney's office is broken into two divisions, a civil division. I submit I have the experience, having 25 years of experience in the civil practice bar and 25 years of daily or weekly experience in the criminal bar. I have begun a focus, after being appointed, to address the neighborhoods, focused deterrence, which is a logic concept to deter people from committing crime. I have partnered with law enforcement and the neighborhoods, and I have maintained a fiscal responsibility of remaining right now under budget. As a result of that, I have initiated a number of initiations that I believe have improved the office and will continue to improve the office, and I hope to do those things. One, law enforcement. I meet weekly with the police department to discuss where we are. Two, I meet weekly with the U.S. Attorney's Office. On Monday morning, I meet with the U.S. Attorney's Office to discuss where we are and where we're going. I have partnered with the neighborhoods through initiation with Steve Fairbanks to pay a portion of his salary, with Crime Stoppers, and I have gone out to the neighborhood associations where crime is most prevalent. I've initiated parenting classes for those who have committed crime and need parenting skills, as well as the juvenile delinquency and the parents that have juvenile delinquents, so that they can receive better parenting skills. As you're aware, I'm involved in the Don't Shoot program. I do not allow handgun crimes to go with probation. They must receive incarceration. Probation has been deterred. We are not allowing people who are on probation to be given multiple chances. I have met with the Illinois Prisoner Review Board to address recidivism. Recidivism among parolees is at 54%, and I have been fiscally responsible. I have eliminated a contract attorney. I have combined 2 attorneys, and I am currently operating under my 2012 budget, so that in 2013, as you have heard, there is an expectation of reduced revenue. We will be able to maintain the level of service we have. I am a member of the United States Army Reserve, where I served in an artillery unit, and I am honored to serve as your state's attorney. Thank you.
My name is Frank Iruli, and I'm running to be your state's attorney. Government's primary responsibility is to provide for public safety. And over the last year, we've had 11 murders since January 1, 53 shootings, more than a shooting a week. Aggravated battery with a firearms, which is people being shot, is up 18.5%. And armed robberies with a firearm is up 34%. Now, that is since January 1. It appears and it is clear that Peoria County has no comprehensive anti-crime policy. If it does have an anti-crime policy, that policy has been an abject failure. Now, since the beginning of this year, the Don't Shoot website, which is really the best example of why we need systemic change in Peoria, in our law enforcement, and how we do things, because there have been 687 gun-related offenses since January 1. Now, we've been rolling out the Don't Shoot program, and it's been rolling out incrementally over the last few months. Now, we knew in January that this program was going to be rolled out, and Don't Shoot is not a new program. It's been around for 15 years. It's institutionalized by the Department of Justice. It is off the shelf. You go to the Department of Justice website, you'll see everything from how to implement the program. You'll see outlines. It's like Don't Shoot for Dummies, on each step on what to do and when to do it. There's a guide that tells you how to deal with the media, on how to use that earned media that you'll get as a part of the Don't Shoot program. This is something that has to be done, and done now. It's been over a year since that tragic murder of a child in his own bedroom. You would think that that event, and as we know from Kennedy's book, that it's often a death of a child or an innocent that really galvanizes a community. And there was community outrage when that happened. But what did our leaders do? What do you remember? Do you remember that they had some summit that said things have to stop now, that we're going to implement changes now, we're going to stop this crime? No. And then a month later, there was a shooting in City Hall parking lot. If that wasn't a wake-up for our leaders, what else could there be? Now, nearly 10 months into the next year, we are only now rolling out this program. This weekend, we had 2 more shootings and 2 more armed robberies, and those were just what we see in the newspaper. Ladies and gentlemen, we need to do something, and we need to do something now. The community cannot and should not wait any longer. There are things that we can do that wouldn't cost the community 1 penny to make our community a better, safer place. I'm hopeful that Don't Shoot will be successful, but it's shameful that we've waited 10 months for it to be rolled out. With that, if I'm your state's attorney, I will not roll out programs when it's politically convenient. I will roll out programs based on the needs of the community, when the community needs it, and to do it then. With that, I would ask for your vote and your support in the election in November.
Hello, I'm Nancy Horton. I am your Peoria County Recorder of Deeds. I'm pleased to be here tonight with the opportunity to talk to you. As most of you know, I was appointed to fill the vacancy left 2.5 years ago by the death of my husband, Brad. Since that time, I've trimmed the budget while still depositing over $2 million annually into the county coffers, even in this down economy. Any office that handles taxpayers' money is, as it should be, an elected office. When I came into the office, we had a 3-week backlog of unrecorded documents. The real estate attorneys and the title companies did not find that acceptable, nor did I. I found ways to eliminate the backlog and change the workflow. Today, the recorder's office records most all documents daily, unless we have a problem with employees' vacations or sickness. I do have longevity in my office. We've gone in the last few years from a staff of 11 down to 8. But customer service has been improved. It's immediate and it's served with a smile. The largest users of my office are now satisfied with the work that we do, and we have not heard any complaints. We still have 163 years of back indexing and scanning to be done, but that has been put on the back burner so that we can enable us to continue to give good services to the citizens of Peoria County. I want to tell you about services that our office offers. An elected official is normally a little bit different than actually someone that is appointed. Recently we had a Peoria County soldier. He contacted my office due to a tax lien filed against him by the Illinois Department of Revenue. He purchased a truck in Illinois, and the Department of Revenue valued it at more than it was worth and more than what he paid for it. The Department of Revenue instructed him to get an appraisal of the vehicle to prove his case. After receiving the appraisal, the state filed a release of lien as if it were paid in full, which also meant it would remain on his credit history for 7 years. He contacted the Department of Revenue and spoke with someone who wasn't interested in his complaint and offered no solutions. By this time, our soldier had shipped out, and all correspondence was long distance between his wife in Texas and him overseas. we contacted our local state representative, who in return contacted the Department of Revenue. And after numerous attempts, he finally got a release of lien, this time stating that it was being released because it was filed in error. Sometimes it takes an elected official working on behalf of its constituents to cut through the bureaucratic red tape. I have been elected by the people to serve the people of Peoria County, and I'm here asking for your support and vote on November 6th. Thank you very much.
I don't know if this is politically correct or not, but I like to thank God for allowing me to be here today. As you know, I am Yvonne Fleming, and I'm running for the Recorder of Deeds office. I have worked in the Recorder of Deeds office for 23 years. And during those 23 years, I have seen lots of different changes. I have seen our office go from indexing in the books to indexing on the computers. I've seen our office go from microfilming to scanning. And even with this new technology today, our office is still lacking the technology that we need to keep our documents current, up to date, and easily accessible to you, the people. If I'm elected to be the Recorder of Deeds, that is going to be one of my goals, is to make sure that when you come into our office, that you are able to access whatever it is that you need with not having to go through 15 clicks to get there. I want that office to run very smoothly. I want it to be more customer friendly. We do have great people in our office. We have longevity, and that makes a whole lot of a difference. When you're dedicated to something and you have passion for it, then that makes a big difference. It means that you are going to work very hard because you want to make your office resemble what you feel. And that's what I'm going to do for you here if I'm elected for the Recorder of Deeds office. When you come into that office, you will feel like you're at home. You will not think about being inside of a courthouse. You will think that you are just in another regular office, because customer service, to me, is what is most important. We also need to start securing our history that we have there in the Recorder of Deeds office. The Recorder's office has been around since the early 1800s. We have lots of documents in there that need to be preserved. And that is one of the things that I am going to be looking forward to doing for you, the people, and I just hope that you elect me to be your next recorder, because you will see a change in that office, and that change will be for the better, for not only for me and those that work there, but for you, the citizens of Peoria County. Thank you.
You know what? I've been registering folks for approximately 20 years now. And it never ceases to amaze me when I'm out there and I ask someone if I can register them, and they say, I don't want to vote. I don't want to register to vote. And I always say, why not? Tell me, why not? And you know what the number one reply is? My vote, or the one vote, or one vote, won't make a difference. The only way democracy works, folks, if the citizens are active participants. A government by the people, for the people, cannot work without the people. And this is a fact. Every vote counts. Let me give you some examples of when one vote did make a difference. I'm going to go back a little ways here. In 1776, one vote gave America the English language instead of German. So I could be up here speaking German if it hadn't been for one vote. In 1868, one vote saved President Andrew Johnson from impeachment. I bet he appreciated that vote. And in 1876, one vote in the Electoral College gave Rutherford B. Hayes the presidency of the United States. In 1923, one vote gave Adolf Hitler leadership of the Nazi Party. One vote did that. John F. Kennedy won the presidency in 1960 by just one vote per precinct in Illinois. One voter in each precinct could have changed the election, giving it at that time then to Nixon with 26 electoral votes. Just one more. Women won the right to vote in 1920 by passage of the 19th Amendment to the Constitution. Tennessee, the last state needed to pass that amendment, ratified the amendment by one vote, ladies. We just squeaked in there. I think you get my point. Not only does your vote make a difference, but it is your responsibility as a citizen and your right to vote. If you do not vote, you cannot complain about government decisions.